The fool has said, in his heart there is no God. They are corrupt.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Preaching to the Choir Ministries. Atheism on YouTube is all but dead. Let me explain why. And when I say atheism, I'm talking about this lack of a belief in a God or a gods. Those arguments don't exist no more here on YouTube. They're all but dead. The only arguments that we hear now is people going after God's morality. They're saying that how can you worship a God that will flood the entire earth? How can you worship a God that would destroy Sodom and Gomorrah? How can you worship a God that would condone slavery or condone rape? These are the arguments made by the so-called atheist community. But they're not the atheist community no more. They're the anti-theist community. They look at religion as being something that is harmful to society, and they want to get rid of it. They don't want it in government. They don't want it in your local governments. They don't want it in your schools. They barely want you practicing it in your own home. If you ever want to see the truthfulness of this, have a conversation with an atheist about indoctrination and should children be indoctrinated with the beliefs that you have concerning God. I'm not saying this to be proud or to be puffed up, but again, atheism on YouTube is dead. So what do we do about the anti-theism that's on YouTube? First of all, we got to get these atheists to see that they're anti-theists because they're lying to themselves when they say that they're atheists. If you ask an atheist why he's an atheist, they'll claim they have a lack of a belief in a God or a gods, but ask them which God do they have a lack of a belief in. 90% of the time, it's either the God of Islam or the God of the Bible. And we all know by now that you can't make the jump to atheism by rejecting the God of the Bible. You still got other religions to deal with. And you can't do that with Islam either. You still got other gods to deal with. Get yourself educated, define what these gods are to these atheists, and you'll find out they got a big problem with the Abrahamic gods. The rest of the gods out there that exist, well, they don't got a lot to say about it because they're not educated about it. They don't have any information about it. And you can't make the jump from dissing Christianity or leaving Christianity to atheism. What you can do is go to anti-theism and look at all religions as being harmful to society. Which, to be perfectly honest, that seems kind of stupid too, considering a lot of these atheists don't know nothing about the New Age movement. They barely know anything about Levian Satanism. They don't know nothing about Buddhism, Hinduism, and these other isms that are out there. They try to mix and conflict and define the God of the Bible as being the same gods in these other religions. So it's reasonable for me to say, number one, that atheism is dead on YouTube. Okay, anti-theism is what's flourishing on YouTube right now. This idea that they want to get rid of religion. Misotheism and this BJ's Wholesale Club type atheism that we see on the internet. If you don't believe me, guys, test them. Ask them why they're atheists. Get on them. Make them admit that the only gods that they are rejecting is the God of the Bible and the God of Islam and the God of Judaism. Because once you get past those three religions, it's like, which way did he go, George? Which way did he go, George? Which way did he go, George? They don't got a lot to say. They don't know a lot about those beliefs. I've watched atheists talk to pagans, and they don't really know a lot about it. They don't know a lot about Wicca. They don't know a lot about the occult. They don't know a lot about other people's beliefs. And some of the other proof of this is that a lot of them are only going by what other people say. They don't actually have the information about what us Christians actually believe and what we actually practice. They think that we're going around teaching people that we should flood the earth. They think that we are going around teaching people to have slaves. They really believe this nonsense. Yet they claim that they were Christians and they were going to church every Sunday, yet they won't provide a pastor's name that is teaching this and prove that that person's a Christian. And many times they can't even define the word Christian. But then they'll tell you to have a lack of a belief in that Christian God. They're very uneducated about this, guys, and we got to start educating these atheists, or I'm sorry, these anti-theists here on YouTube on why they don't believe. All right? Or why they're suppressing the truth and unrighteousness. And the way God has been giving me my form of argumentation lately, or his form of argumentation, has been proving Romans chapter 1 to be correct, 1 Corinthians chapter 1 to be correct, and it's just demonstrating the wisdom of God. You can't deny Christianity, you know what I mean, and then say, I'm an atheist. Or I deny Islam and I'm an atheist. You're jumping over a lot of other religions. Hold on a minute. We got to talk about these other gods. Do you lack a belief in these gods and why? Can you even define them? And do you have a intellectual reason on why you don't believe them? Not all gods are supernatural. If you're going to be on YouTube and you're going to say that I have a lack of a belief in the God or gods, be prepared to define what those gods are. Because if you can't, then you're not believe then your lack of a belief in gods is on pure ignorance. Absolutely pure ignorance. And I'm working on a video in the future to define all of these gods for you guys so that you can make a more informed decision about whether or not you're really an atheist or not. And what about these BJ's Wholesale Club type atheists? The people that goes, they're doubting. They don't want to follow the God of the Bible no more. So now they see atheism, they're listening to atheism, and they're like, wow, that sounds really close to where I'm at. So what do? They take a leap of faith and they join the atheist community, not really believing everything that the atheist community is saying. They're trying to learn about other beliefs and why people believe what they believe. But they're not atheists. And you'll figure out who those people are very fast if you have a cordial, calm conversation and you're not in a room with like 25 people talking at the same time. You'll be able to point them out, and those are the people that you need to talk to off air, one-on-one, and try to let them know about the God of the Bible. As for these militant type style anti-theists, because I'm not even calling you guys atheists no more, these militant style anti-theists here on the internet, they just want to get rid of religion. They just want to get rid of religion. If they didn't want to get rid of religion, they would not be downplaying God so much. They wouldn't want God in school. They wouldn't be saying I don't want God in politics. They're anti-theists. They're not atheists. Atheists are not real. They don't exist. They can claim to be atheists all day long, but until they can come up with one, and I'm just saying one solid reason on why they are an atheist, there's no need to respect them as an atheist. I'm even thinking, I've been thinking about this for a while, and I'm thinking about calling the atheist experience with this argument and asking them why they're an atheist. Yeah, they're going to say that they don't see the evidence for the existence of a God. Proving that they're suppressing the truth and unrighteousness will be easy. Very easy. I don't believe Matt Dillahunty has actually read the Bible the way he claims he has. And he's definitely knowledgeable about it. But I don't think he read, nor does he know how to rightly divide the word of truth. So I'm not guaranteeing it, but I might call the atheist experience with this argument, or call, if it's possible, to call the thinking atheist with this argument, and start going after the more popular atheists with this argument, because a lot of them, they're just anti-theists. Bible Reloaded, they're anti-theists. The Drunken Peasants, they're anti-theist. Cult of Dusty is probably one of the most outspoken anti-theists here on YouTube, but he's not an atheist. Not by a long shot. Not getting upset and getting as angry as he gets at a fictional character, according to him. If this really was a work of fiction, the way they claimed it was, they would not be showing the amount of emotion that they show towards this. Granted, Darth Vader was a pretty good bad guy. Did a lot of horrible things in Star Wars. Snow from the Hunger Games did a lot of horrible things. But you're not going to see me making video after video after video after video after video about those guys. And don't give me this stuff that Christianity. And by the way, yes, I understand you saying Christianity is affecting the government and whatnot, and you want to get religion, which is code for Christianity. You want to get religion out of the government because you're anti-theist. You're not an atheist. An atheist wouldn't care because an atheist thinks all this stuff is like or whatever. So, with that being said, guys, I just wanted to put that information out there. It's time to ask them that question. They've been doing a very successful job of ducking this question. A lot of atheists are not coming into the Google Hangouts no more, and they don't want to deal with this question. Instead, what we're getting is trolling as an answer, because they don't have an answer. And it's just confirmation that what I'm saying is right. And until next time, guys, it's been another edition of Preaching to the Choir Ministries, letting all of you know Jesus is still on the throne. Give him his praise. Read your Bible and do what it says. God bless.